All right, so we're back for another deep dive, and today things are getting pretty futuristic. We're talking AI, but not just any AI.
Yeah, definitely not your average AI.
No, this stuff's straight out of a movie.
I was getting some Iron Man vibes, for sure.
Right. This TechCrunch article we found talks about Alibaba's new AI models, Qwen 2.5 VL.
Yeah, it's a pretty wild family of models.
And get this, not only can they understand images and videos, but they can actually take control of your devices, like computers and phones.
Really blurring the lines between science fiction and reality.
No kidding. So are you ready to break it all down?
Absolutely. Let's dive in.
Okay, so first off, what exactly is Qwen 2.5 VL?
Well, it's not just one model, actually. It's a whole family of AI models that were developed by Alibaba's Qwen team. And the big thing here is they've gone way beyond, like, the typical text-based AI.
Okay, so not just reading and writing.
Right. Qwen 2.5 VL is getting into multimodal understanding.
Multimodal meaning.
So it means it can process information from different sources, text, images, videos, like, how we do as humans.
So it's not just recognizing a cat in a picture, it's actually understanding what's going on.
Exactly. Imagine showing it a basketball game, for instance. Qwen 2.5 VL can not only tell you what's happening, but actually analyze the player's movements, identify key moments, maybe even predict who's going to win.
Whoa, okay, so this is next level stuff. The article even mentions that Qwen 2.5 VL is particularly good at understanding videos and documents. Like, it outperforms some pretty big names in AI.
Oh yeah, it goes head to head with some of the top models out there, like OpenAI's GPT-4, and actually beats them in certain tasks.
I was reading about that. It can do things like parsing files, counting objects in an image, even getting data from scanned documents.
Oh, and don't forget about comprehending those super long videos, like, recognizing what brands people are wearing in a movie or what products are in a haul video.
It's kind of mind-blowing. But one of the most interesting things I read was about its ability to actually control software.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive.
Like, they had this demo where it booked a flight using the Booking.com app on an actual phone.
Right. I mean, it seems like we're moving way past just chatting with AI. This is like AI that can actually act on our behalf in the digital world.
So is this the first step toward AI, seamlessly navigating our digital world? Like a virtual assistant, but on steroids?
It's definitely a big step in that direction, for sure. Although the article did mention its abilities on, they showed it working on a Linux desktop, but they said it seemed a bit limited for now.
Interesting. Okay, so we've talked about what it can do, but what about its limits? I mean, the article did mention some restrictions on what it's willing to talk about, especially around, sensitive political stuff.
Yeah, it seems like there are some topics that are kind of off limits, most likely because of China's internet regulations.
Right. They mentioned how it avoided a question about, well, let's just say political leadership.
Yeah, definitely some boundaries in place there.
So even though this AI is incredibly advanced, it's still operating within certain, let's call them guidelines.
Exactly. It really highlights that even with open source AI, there are these unseen factors influencing how they operate and what they're allowed to say.
That's pretty thought-provoking. Now, for the listeners out there who are like, okay, I got to try this thing. Hey, how can someone actually get their hands on Qwen 2.5 VL? Can you just download it?
Well, you can actually test it out in Alibaba's Qwen chat app, and you can also download it from Hugging Face, that AI developer platform. But there's a catch. There are different licensing terms.
Oh. What do you mean by that?
So it depends on the model size you want. Like, the smaller ones are pretty much available to anyone, but the one with all the bells and whistles, the one that can do the really crazy stuff, that one has restrictions.
Like, who can use it?
Yeah, for example, they specifically mention limitations for, big companies.
So even though they're making this tech available, there's still a level of control over who gets to use the most powerful version.
It shows this interesting tension, right? On one hand, you've got this push for open access and collaboration, but then on the other hand, there are these concerns about, what if it gets misused, especially with a model this powerful?
Yeah, I mean, this thing could really impact our digital lives.
Absolutely.
Well, this has already been a lot to digest, and it feels like we're just scratching the surface here.
Oh yeah, we've only just started exploring what this AI family can do and the implications of its, multimodal understanding and this ability to actually control software. There's so much more to uncover.
Oh.
Makes you think, doesn't it? About how this tech could, change everything about how we use the digital world.
Totally. It's almost like the technology is becoming more human-like in how it interacts with us,
Right.
which could be huge EE for accessibility. People who have a hard time using like traditional interfaces because of disabilities.
Absolutely. This could open up so many possibilities.
And think about productivity and efficiency too, not just accessibility. Like, what if Qwen 2.5 VL could handle all those little annoying online tasks we do every day?
Yeah, all that tedious stuff.
Then we'd have so much more time for creative stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's like having a super-powered personal assistant that not only gets what you're saying, but can actually do it in the digital world.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Imagine what that could do for businesses, too.
Right.
Think about customer service. Instead of waiting on hold forever or navigating those crazy phone menus, you could just, show Qwen 2.5 VL a picture of your bill or explain your problem, and it just takes care of it.
I would love that. But, it does make you wonder about jobs, too.
Oh, yeah, of course.
If AI can do all this stuff that humans are doing now, what happens to all those jobs?
It's a valid concern, definitely something we have to consider seriously. But I think instead of looking at AI as a job killer, we should think about it as an opportunity to rethink how we work altogether.
Okay, so less about replacing humans and more about humans and AI, working together.
Exactly. AI takes care of the boring, repetitive tasks, and then humans can focus on stuff that needs creativity, critical thinking, all those things that AI can't really do yet.
It brings its strengths, we bring ours.
Exactly. Who knows? Maybe we'll even see completely new industries and jobs popping up that we can't even imagine right now.
That's a cool thought. And speaking of cool things, the article mentioned some ways that Qwen 2.5 VL is already being used, like helping farmers in China monitor their crops.
Oh yeah, that's a great example.
They're using it with drones, just analyzing images to check on crop health and manage irrigation systems.
It shows how this AI can go beyond the digital world and actually impact the physical world through sensors and cameras and all that.
That opens up so many possibilities, like what if it could help with search and rescue, analyzing aerial footage to find survivors, or help doctors make diagnoses earlier by looking at medical images.
It's incredible how far AI has come in such a short amount of time.
And with models like Qwen 2.5 VL, it seems like we're just getting started.
Oh, absolutely. We can expect even more amazing advances in the near future. It's really like science fiction becoming reality.
It is, but it's also a little bit scary, to be honest.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like with all this power, we have to remember that AI is a tool. And just like any tool, it can be used for good or bad.
Couldn't agree more. We have to develop and use AI responsibly and really think about the ethical implications.
We need to make sure it benefits everyone, not just a select few.
Absolutely.
So as we're moving towards this future where AI is more and more a part of our lives, both in the digital world and the real world, what are some of the big things we should be keeping in mind?
Well, I think one of the most important things is fairness. We need to make sure that these AI systems are developed and used in a way that's fair and unbiased.
That's a big question, and honestly, it feels kind of overwhelming to think about all the things we need to consider. Like, where do we even start?
Yeah, no, it's a lot, for sure. But I think the good news is there are already a ton of people and organizations out there working on these issues, pushing for responsible AI,
So what can our listeners do? Like everyday people, what can we do to get involved and make a difference?
Well, the first thing is to stay informed, right?
Yeah.
Keep learning about AI, what it can do, how it might affect us. There are so many resources out there, like articles. I mean, hey, podcasts like this one.
Right.
Online courses, even local groups where you can meet other people who are interested in this stuff.
The more we know, the better we can be part of the conversation.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to, speak up. If you see something about AI that worries you, say something. Share it on social media. Write to your representatives. Contact the companies that are making this tech.
So it's not just about learning, it's about being active, making our voices heard.
For sure. And another thing you can do is support organizations that are fighting for responsible AI development. There are groups focused on making algorithms more transparent, protecting data privacy, setting ethical guidelines for AI. You can donate, volunteer, even just spread the word.
So even if we're not AI experts or working in tech, there's still a lot we can do.
Absolutely. We all have a part to play in shaping the future of AI. And remember, it's not just about avoiding the bad stuff. It's also about using AI to solve problems, big problems like climate change, poverty, disease.
Using it to make things better for everyone.
Exactly. So let's bring it back to where we started, with Alibaba's Qwen 2.5 via L. It's a perfect example of how fast AI is changing and how much potential it has. I mean, this thing can understand images and video, control devices, even beat some of the biggest names in AI.
Yeah, but it also shows us how important it is to be careful to develop and use it responsibly.
100%. It all comes back to remembering that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used in good ways or bad ways.
It's up to us to make sure we're steering it in the right direction.
Yeah, well said. And at the end of the day, it's not just about controlling the technology, it's about understanding it, shaping it, making sure it reflects our values as a society.
This deep dive has definitely been eye-opening, to say the least. It's exciting and kind of scary at the same time.
Totally. But that's what makes it so interesting, right? AI is forcing us to think differently, to ask these big questions, to really talk about what kind of future we want.
Couldn't have said it better myself. To all our listeners out there, keep exploring the world of AI, stay curious, keep asking questions, and most importantly, get involved. The future of AI is in our hands. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.